Gerry Lindgren burst onto the distance running scene in memorable fashion. He shattered national records that stood for decades and became an Olympian, all before entering college. In his Washington State uniform, he won 11 NCAA championships in cross country and indoor and outdoor track, the most in history to that point, winning all but one NCAA race he entered. He was the first three-time individual winner of the NCAA cross-country championships. He's a collegiate distance legend, and tonight, he's a Hall of Famer. From Washington State, Gerry Lindgren. Accepting on behalf of Gerry Lindgren and Henry Rono, current Washington State Director of Track and Field and Cross Country Wayne Phipps, and former Washington State head coach John Chaplin. And gentlemen, we'll call this the cool down lap here, so go ahead and hang on to this. We're going to ask you guys a few questions here, just looking back at the legacy of these two athletes. And you start with Gerry Lindgren and just what he meant as a three-time cross-country champion. Can you really put into perspective just how impressive that feat was when you look at the competition? I mean, we saw Steve Prefontaine up there that he was edging out. What did that mean when you really take a chance to look back and examine it?
Well, I think any question regarding Gerry or Henry, I'm obviously going to defer to Coach Chaplin and his iconic teams. And I think both Henry and Gerry, if you look back, probably two of the most, if not the most iconic distance runners in the history of collegiate track and field.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Gerry Lindgren, of course, in high school, beat the Russians, and I think that's when it started. This little scrawny kid we called the Sparrow, you know, and he beat the Russians, and that was the next year. Of course, he's a freshman, and that year he ties the world record with in the 6 miles. He was a very unique individual. I mean, little scrawny kid, and he got a major in Russian and that kind of stuff. But he was a really tough competitor. His senior year, he won the 5 and 10,000 all 3 years in a row in a double, won the cross country, and 2 times he won the 2 mile. He lost to Jim Ryun, was his only loss in college. And he is in, so in the 5 and the 10 in his senior year, he was hurt. He wins the 10. He wins the 10, and he's in the final of the 5,000 with a lap to go. He is 4th. Somehow, some way, that scrawny little kid inside managed to nail all those guys and still win his 3rd title. That's I always remember it.
Very impressive.
Henry Rono was totally different. Henry Rono, the first year as a freshman, he had another team member named Samson Kiwamba had set the world's record for the 10,000 meters, and we were running in our canyon run in the fall in cross country, and he is making Samson look like a schoolboy. And I called him into my office and I said to him, you know, you could be the first man to break the world's record in the 5, the 10, and the steeple, because you have to have a good steeplechase to try this. I said, they're very weak events still, and they were. And he says to me, do you think I can do it? And like most coaches, I sucked myself up and lied. He said, of course, son. We sat down and made a plan, and it was like a machine. I told him what to run, where we're going to run the first race, then I run a second one to solve any problems, and then run the race for the record. And bit by bit, he did everything just like that. And that's all he had. Very quiet, never got excited, and I doubt that anybody else will ever hold the 3 Olympic records, the 5, 10, and steeple, plus the 3,000, which is the IAAF, now World Athletics, 2 mile.